Welcome to SortaOkay Reviews, where every fandom's welcome. I'm Nathan Bedard,
I'm Brad Newton.
and today we're doing our review of Isle of Dogs.
Isle of Dogs was directed by Wes Anderson, and it stars the voice talents of Bryan Cranston, Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, Scarlett Johansson, along with many others.
Okay, to set the stage, dog flu is running rampant across the Japanese archipelago, and Mayor Kobayashi has decreed that all dogs be banished to the Scrap Island.
There, at Scrap Island, a boy named Atari goes there to find his lost dog named Spots, where he meets a group of other dogs that want to help him, and this leads them on a visually stunning adventure. So, Nathan, what were your expectations going into this one?
Well, I mean, there weren't really, too much of expectations. They weren't really high, they weren't really low. I just remember seeing the trailer, and I was like, okay, that looks like an interesting movie. I like Bryan Cranston. I love stop animation films, and it just looked interesting to me. And I knew that I was gonna probably enjoy it, and I did.
Yeah, it catches your attention. It's a very unique trailer.
Yeah, it's very different.
It's like, this is something different, but I'm interested in this. I want to go see it. Like, we actually decided to go see this over Rampage that came out today.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to talk about Wes Anderson. Now, this man has been nominated for many Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
His movies always get nominated for comedies and Oscars. And this isn't his first outing in a stop animation movie, as he did Fantastic Mr. Fox. For me, I really like The Life Aquatic. He did that movie with Bill Murray. He did Grand Budapest Hotel. So
remember that one.
So he's done a lot of movies that we both like, and he has that certain feel and tone and comedy that he does.
Yeah.
So, what did we think of this movie? What were the positives?
Well, I mean, I could go on and on and on forever. But to sum it up, I think the positives about this movie is it's very unique. It's stop animation, but even in that sense, it's different than that, because it's not your average stop animation movie where it has this story, you can tell it's stop. It's very different. Like the direction of this movie is something unique that takes a really a kind of a regular movie theme and combines it with a Japanese culture, and then you add movie theme and just all that to it. It's a culmination of some many ideas, and I think and I think sometimes I get mad when I see some of these voice acting films and I see these big names, because there's so many other talented voice actors out there that deserve work. And when you just slap a big name on there to just maybe get some money through that, or get your attention through that, I find it weak. But in this movie, I gotta say, I think every one of these voice actors, every one of these stars, deserved every role. I think this voice acting for everyone was perfection.
Yeah, what I wanted to mention is you can tell the amount of work and that went into this movie is crazy. All the sets that they built, and then all the characters, the detail of the characters, and just the little things you can see. And stop animation takes a long time.
Very long time.
To make a full length movie with it looking this good is quite it's amazing to me. And you mentioned the voice acting, and there's a lot of stars. Like you said, they get voice actors to get attention. They just cast anybody, and that's honestly one of the reasons I wanted to go see this stuff, because I was Jeff Goldblum, Bryan Cranston.
I like Jeff Goldblum. I love Bryan Cranston and everything.
And it's Bill Murray.
But it did worry me a little bit, because it was okay, every one of those is a big name. Do they need it?
It works in this.
It works 100%. They put some great effort in. My standouts though were Scarlett Johansson and Bryan Cranston.
Yeah. Bryan Cranston, I think, probably had the most screen time in this. So, but yeah, it really worked, the voice acting, and the comedy in this movie. I mean, comedy is subjective, but it hit pretty hard in this.
That's actually my standout for this movie. I knew it was probably gonna have some funny moments, but the comedy just hit so well for me. There was moments where I was laughing so hard.
We had a relatively empty theater when we saw it.
Yeah, it's maybe not comedy, I think your kids would get, because we saw a family bring their little kid to it, which I don't think this movie's made for kids.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more aggressive, but the comedy was phenomenal. I was blown away by some of the jokes in this movie and how much I laughed.
And then you kind of already touched upon it, but like I really want to bring up the fact that how unique this movie is. It's so different than, you know, the sequels and the superhero movies, which I love that we get. But it's nice to see, like, you know, something that we've never seen. Like, this is an animation movie made for an older audience.
Yeah.
And it's like it has, you know, like a Japanese theme, which we're both big fans of anime, so we like the culture.
Yeah, and like I said, I think its sense of comedy also too is very unique. It's not your vulgar comedy, but it's not your typical comedy. It's a very like
nuanced, like
a new generation kind of humor.
Sarcastic.
Yeah,
nuanced.
Very sarcastic.
Yeah.
And just out of your mill, like random jokes. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm. And so, me personally, like, I had a hard time coming up with negatives, but you had a big negative that you wanted to address.
One of my negatives of this movie was that while I love how unique it was, but this was technically a wide release movie. Like, we saw it tonight, Thursday. It's playing in a lot of theaters. And you know, like, we saw a couple families, like a couple families came and watched this movie. This, like, some of they tell you in the beginning of the movie that they didn't use English voice actors to voice the Japanese characters. They used Japanese characters, which I'm totally fine with. But when those parts come up, they don't subtitle what they're saying. They, like, maybe later down the line,
which they do explain at the beginning of the movie.
They do, but they use the dogs to maybe explain them, or let them say what they're going to say.
Or a translator.
Or then if they didn't explain it, the dogs will explain it at the very end of their sentence. But I just felt like they could have just easily gone the route of
subtitles.
Because it was a wide release movie. It's like this. Maybe if it was like I was watching this at a film festival, and it would have felt a little different. But like, okay, this was a very unique way. But I mean, for a movie you're trying to sell to a general audience, I think they should have just put subtitles.
To me, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal for me though, because to me it's like I really like try to focus and see if I could catch a word here or there what they were saying. I mean, I get that what they were going for, but I mean, he was trying to be like an artsy move that may have fallen. But other than that, like, I mean,
could have maybe been a little bit shorter. I mean, I was into the story, but I felt like towards the end, I'm like, okay, let's pick it up just a little bit, but not really a big negative. I slightly noticed. I'm like, okay, it's a little bit long.
And the only thing that I came up with for a negative would be that maybe there was just too many characters. We didn't get enough of the characters fleshed out. Like, so they're all interesting characters. We liked, you know, the group of dogs. And maybe we wanted to see them a bit more. I'm actually glad you bring that up, because, like, a little part in the movie, I know, like, we veer off to these two characters that have to develop them. But when you set up this great group, I felt like they were just away for a little too long. Yeah, they kind of just... Yeah, there's just not enough of them.
Yeah.
So, and because they have to set up all these different characters. And then I liked how they explained, like, it was broken up into parts, and they explained certain things with subtitles. But overall, I really liked this movie.
Yeah, it was fun. It was like, I just walked out of the theater. I'm like, I enjoyed that film.
Yeah, like, as I was watching, I'm super into this movie. Do you have any final thoughts before we go into rankings?
Well, like I said, just go into this film knowing that it's... I wouldn't suggest bringing, like, your kids
like
or anything.
Young kid.
Yeah, like a young
maybe
kid.
12 and above.
Maybe. And, like, it's not your, like, typical movie. Like I said, there's, like you have to follow something.
If the trailer caught your attention and you said, this looks interesting, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. So, Brad, do you want to go into our rankings?
So we have Sorta Awful, which is an F. We have Sorta Bad, which is a D. We have SortaOkay, which is a C. We have Sorta Good, which is a B. We have Sorta Spectacular, which is an A. And then we have Sorta Perfect, which means support this movie as much as you can. So what are you going to rate this one?
I'm going to give it a Sorta Good.
Sorta Good?
Yeah, I was leaning maybe towards Spectacular, but you know what? I think I'm going to give it a Good just because, like, the comedy was the big standout for me, which I love, but I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be something I constantly rewatch or go to see a bunch of times. But I think it's a really solid movie, and I think it deserves to make a lot of money, and it deserves to be well praised. This is a good movie.
So I'm gonna give it a sort of spectacular. I almost, when I walked out of the theater, I kind of almost wanted to give it a sort of perfect because I really like this movie. But I'm gonna give it a sort of spectacular. I'm gonna give it an A. So I don't know. I really liked it.
It's very good. It's very good.
The shots in it, I like the way that the camera moves, like the intricate like details in it, like the amount of work, as I already mentioned.
Yes, go support Stop Animation Films.
Like they should make more of this uniqueness of it. I want to see more movies like this. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it. But I think that's gonna do it.
Yep, that's going to do it for our review of Isle Dogs. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you found it helpful. And if you love anime movie reviews, make sure you come back. We have many, many videos planned.
Yep, and as always, you could click over there to subscribe, and we'll have another movie review video up here.
That's going to do it. Thank you very much. Have a good day.